Let's look at y'all's assignment from last night. I'm going to do a couple of problems with you. So let's look at t. I'm going to move that plus 6 over to the other side by subtracting 6. And I have x over 5 equals 8 minus 6 is 2. Anytime you have a fraction, that also means x divided by 5. And we're doing inverse operations. The inverse is to multiply both sides by 5. Which 5 over 5 makes it 1. So we're just left with x equals 2 times 5 is 10. So I showed you yesterday how to check by substitution. So you would do 10 over 5 plus 6 equals 8. And the reason I put 10 is because that's what x is. That makes this equation true. So 10 over 5, which is 2. 2 plus 6 is 8. I can put that, or I can do that in my head. I don't have to use a calculator. I do want to show you the other way, which is by storing it. So we are going to put 10 as x and then write the equation in our calculator. So let me show you that. So follow along with me. So we are going to put in 10, and then we're going to go down to where store is. It's the number or the button right above the on. Store. And we're going to put x. See how that's an x? Those are all the variables that we can use. You can also just use a letter if you want. You can do alpha, and see how all these green letters, I could change it to A if I wanted, but I'm just going to use X. So 10 is being stored, and I'll put in the equation. I love the update on this calculator. So what we can do is we can do alpha y equals. If you have the update, push enter, and we can put in x over 5. You have to use your arrows to move from one spot to the next. Plus 6. It equals 8, so it's right. If you don't have the update, then you are going to have to do parentheses x divided by 5 plus 6. Or if you have an 83, you're going to have to do that. But either way, it works. Okay, so we are going to, I'm not going to do any more problems on here. I want us to do some problems in our journal. So get out your journal, and we will be on page 9. No, 10. So this was 8. 9. If you weren't here, you can just skip those pages and go to page 10. We're going to do 2 examples on here, and then the rest of the class time will be for you to work on your assignment. So we did 4 examples on the front, so now we're going to move to example 5. So our example 5 is going to be 2 over 5 x plus 1 equals 7. Draw your line down your equal sign, and we need to solve. So let's just ignore the 2/5 x. We need to get rid of this plus 1. So we do subtract 1 on both sides. Plus 1 minus 1 makes 0. So we have 2/5 x equals 7 minus 1 is 6. So do y'all remember my favorite word from yesterday? Reciprocal. Anytime you have a fraction in front of the variable, you have to multiply by the reciprocal. Reciprocal. It's just the inverse. You flip the fraction. Flip the fraction. My favorite word. You're going to multiply by the reciprocal. So if I have 2/5 x, I'm going to multiply both sides by 5/2. 5/2. Whatever I do to one side, I have to do to the other. So this cancels, and we're left with just x equals, this is over 1, right? 6/1. Going back to like 7th grade math, top times top, 6 times 5, 1 times 2, 2. So it actually equals 15. If you need to do that in your calculator because you just have this mental block on fractions, you can. You can do 6 times and then do your fraction. Remember alpha y equals, and do 5/2. 15. So x equals 15. Okay, you can either substitute in or you can do the store button. So what we would do is we'd do 15 for x and then plug that in. So 15 store x. So I want you to do this with me. Make sure you're practicing. You can either do the store button or you can sub in. 2/5 times 15 plus 1 equals 7. But I would rather do the store. But you're free to do the option that works best for you. So I'm going to do 2/5. Make sure you're using your arrows to get from one part of the fraction to the other. And then beside the fraction, because if you put x here, it'll be wrong. X doesn't go on the bottom. You can arrow over and push the delete button, which is right by the arrow, and then move to your right. So x plus 1, it does equal 7. Okay. Do you have any questions on that? Let's go to the next example. So this one is -5y plus 8 minus parentheses -3y minus 6 equals 22. Yeah, it is a long one. So let's see what we can simplify first. -5y. But what about this minus a negative? Yeah. Keep, change, flip. So anytime you have a double negative, and see how it's only being sent to the 3y? So that's actually plus 3y. So really it's -5 plus 3. -2y. So -2y. What else can we combine? 8, and what kind of 6 is that? A -6. Oh, 8 minus 6. What is that? 8 minus 6 is, yep, +2 equals 22. Now it's a much simpler problem. So we're going to subtract 2 on both sides. So it's -2y equals 20. Divide by a -2. -10, yep. Okay, we want to check it. So you can do the store. So you do -10 for x. I'm just going to keep just using x because that's a variable. It doesn't matter what letter you use. Just use an x. Or if you'd like to keep on putting it in here, that's fine too. So -10. Make sure you use the negative button down here. Don't use minus. We're saying -10 store x. And then do your equation. -5x plus 8 minus parentheses -3x parentheses minus 6. And it equals 20. Let's go to our last example. It's example 7. 6a minus 4 parentheses 2a minus 1. Close the parentheses equals 3. So I need to simplify the left side by itself. I have this -4 out in front of the parentheses. So I need to distribute it. So I have 6a, -4 times a +2. It's -8. And then a -4 times a -1. +4 equals 3. Okay, I'm almost simplified because I distributed, but I have to combine like terms now. So these two are my like terms. -2a, because you keep the sign of the larger number. See how 8 is the larger number between 6 and 8? Okay, +4 equals 3. Now keep on moving along. Yep. Then we need to get a by itself still. So we need to divide by the -2. Get a equals. If I have a negative divided by another negative, it's going to become positive. 1/2. Or we can put it as 0.5. Half is a terminating decimal, so that's why I can do that. So you can either substitute it in your original, or you can do the store button. So let me review the store button. 0.5 store x. So remember the store is right above the on button. And I'm using x instead of a because I can use any variable. Now put in 6a or 6x minus 4 parentheses 2x minus 1. Close the parentheses. And then push enter. And it does equal 3. So the way you show checking your work here is you'd put 0.5 for x. And then put a little check mark that you checked it. That would be a way that you could show me that you checked it. But remember, the checking is for your benefit so that you get it right. If it does not come out as the same thing like this one, if it came out as a 1 or any number besides 3, you would know that you made some kind of mistake and you need to go back and check it. All right, so your assignment is to finish all of the Why Are Pizza Jokes Never Funny? And then on the back, you are just doing 3 problems. Y, W, and M. You don't have to do all of them. There's 3 problems. Anything beyond that, so if you decide to do more problems, I will give you bonus points for them. And so this is due the next time I see y'all.